But in that first year, he was coincidentally given haloperidol, and as a result, he became almost stupefied and lost all language during that year. We didn't think that that was right. We had him taken off that medication. In 2000, Luke had left primary school. He was going to a specialist school for autism, but within the first few months, he became distressed. And the school was saying, look, we're having trouble coping with his behaviours. We think you should see this doctor, and the doctor will prescribe some medication that we've been using with these other children. And we didn't really take that advice. Instead, we went and saw a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist prescribed the medication in addition to the medication that Luke was already on. And that sent Luke into a deep and dark spiral, which I'd have to say pushed him into deep psychosis. There was a time when we were so distressed and he was so agitated, destructive of all property. We took him to hospital and they refused admission because we refused to let him go through these double doors so that they could look after him on their own terms. So we went home. He was covered with sores and welts. He would pinch his skin and scream until it bled. And he broke just about every window in our house. We left that psychiatrist, the medication was removed, and he recovered within a few weeks, but not completely. The damage had caused was to our health and well-being, and those who were caring for him was irreparable. We went to the doctor, recommended by the school, and he simply increased the dosage of medication to the point where Luke was on a double adult dose of major tranquilizers. It would have knocked me out. But Luke was still getting upset, still able to pick up people. He could pick me up at that size and throw me around. And unfortunately, because of the medication, he lost the ability to think and to reason. In this picture, he is so dopey that if I had let him go, he would have just fallen over. And that's a modified picture. You can probably pick it up. In the actual photograph, he has his mouth open, his tongue protruding, and he's drooling. He now suffers the permanent side effects of the brain damage caused by that medication. This is an example of a tardive dyskinesia, where his jaw moves uncontrollably and his tongue protrudes, and it interrupts his speaking. He also suffered what's known as an ocular gyrate crisis. Now, while these have abated and are extremely infrequent, they can be paralysing. Here he is at home, about to go into an ocular gyrate crisis. It didn't happen all the time, and so we continued on our lovely lifestyle of going for bushwalks. Here we are on the top of Cathedral Mountain. And not long after this photograph was taken, do you know where Cathedral Mountain is? Just north of Healesville, yeah? It's very steep, very rocky, very dangerous. And he was walking okay, and then all of a sudden he went into one of these crises, and I ended up having to carry him several kilometres while he was contorting and twisting, and I thought, there's something wrong with this medication, we've got to get him off. Strangely enough, I went to the inaugural autism conference in 2002, and I went to one of the lectures. That's a photograph from Autism News of the Congress, and I was standing up up the back. And at the end of a session on medication, I got up and asked the question. I said to the guy, look, you've told us about these new medications for autism, and you've told us about the warnings and the side effects. My son's exhibiting some of those side effects. What must I do to prevent those side effects from becoming permanent? He said, I can't answer your question, you'll have to come down and see me later. I went down the front later, and as I was going down, I was approached by psychiatrists from around the world and a lawyer. I ignored the lawyer and I listened to the psychiatrist, who said he should never have been on that dosage of medication and he needs to be taken off, and it's going to take you 2 years to get him off that medication, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.